my screen. So dear participants, today's topic will be testing of statistical hypothesis. And let me tell you, and please know that I will not explain the concepts of research methodology or basic of statistics. I will focus more on how to run these hypothesis tests in Python with the actual data, so that it gives you more grasp over the tests. Plus, kindly pay attention when I'm running these commands on Python, because that's more important. And after you do the hands-on practice, then you'll be more confident in handling these tests in Python. So before moving to hands-on on Jupyter, let us quickly go through the various tests used. And let me repeat, I will not explain the concepts of research methodology or basics of statistics. I'll be focusing more on how to run these tests with the help on Python with the help of actual data. So without much ado, let's move to the topic and let's revise some basic concepts of testing of hypothesis quickly. So in testing of hypothesis, there are few major points or major things that we need to keep in mind. First of all, the hypothesis. Hypotheses are of two types. Either it can be null hypothesis or alternative hypothesis. So I repeat, null hypothesis or alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis means it is just a neutral statement that we assume to be true. For example, while I will be dealing in my Python hands-on, you can assume that the data that you are dealing with, it's normal or it's not correlated, something like that. Any statement without adding any bias from your side. And alternate hypothesis will be a statement just opposite to that. And our objective is that we have to prove the null hypothesis false. And with the given data, the null hypothesis can turn out to be true or it can turn out to be false. So any one of them will be true. So our main objective is the null hypothesis can be rejected or can be accepted given the data. It's just a neutral statement that we make. The second major point in testing of hypothesis is statistic. So given the data that we have, we calculate a statistic, and that statistics can be interpreted by p-value. So given the data that we calculate the statistic. The data can be normal, non-normal, any distribution as such, depending on the data that we have. The different, as I said, I won't be deep diving into that, but just to understand that if to interpret the statistic, we use the p-value, and we reject or accept the null hypothesis basis on the p-value. So p-value is very much important for us. But before taking the p-value, we must also understand the concept of level of significance or alpha. Alpha, so any statistical test is not foolproof just because the data that we are handling may have some amount of error in it. And that we have to assume. For example, if we assume that we have data that has 5% error, then we take alpha as 5%. If we assume that our data has 10% of error, we take alpha as 10%. So depending on the error that we need, level of significance or alpha that we need to take, we take alpha accordingly. And depending on that alpha, we reject or accept null hypothesis. For example, if my p-value is less than equal to alpha, we reject the null hypothesis, or we reject the statement that we made in the null hypothesis. If my p-value is more than alpha, we accept the null hypothesis, or we accept the neutral statement that we have made in the null hypothesis. So this is the basics of hypothesis. Now, moving on to various tests and hypothesis. The data that we have, first of all, we need to test if the data is from a normal distribution or not. So I will just quickly go through these tests. I won't be discussing these tests in detail given the time constraint, but I will be telling you the hypothesis again when I will be doing the Python. So just understand when are these, what are the tests that we used in test of hypothesis. Test of normality, it can be either Kolmogorov-Smirnov test or Shapiro-Wilk test. So Kolmogorov-Smirnov test is used when our number of observations in our test is more than 50. And Shapiro-Wilk test is used when the number of observations are less than 50. So these are, and the hypothesis I will deal in Python as well. These are two tests of normality. And if the data is normal, then we go for all these tests. If the data is not normal, then we go for all these tests. For example, if my data is normal, then I will go for Pearson correlation test, which will tell me about the correlation between or among the variables that we have. One sample t-test is there, the independent sample t-test is there, pair sample t-test is there, and analysis of variance is there. One sample t-test is used when we want to compare the mean of the sample with some hypothetical mean. Independent sample is that then we have two different groups and we want to compare means of that group. Paired sample t-test, a beautiful example for paired sample t-test is, for example, there are a group of people, 10 people, and you see what was the weight before the medicine was given to them, and then you test them again and test the weight, what was the weight after the medicine was given, and then you see was there any change in their mean weight after the medicine and before the medicine was given. So these are simple tests that we use. Then we move to analysis of covariance. And then we're moving on to, if there's no normality in the data, then we use Spearman correlation test. All these tests are for continuous data, even for Spearman correlation. If we have categorical data, then we use chi-square test. I won't be discussing in detail all non-parametric tests given the time constraints, but I will give you just an idea about it. So these are some tests of normality, and all these tests given Pearson test, one sample t-test, independent sample t-test, paired sample t-test, ANOVA, and post hoc after ANOVA, all these are applied only when data is normal. If the data is not normal, then we use Spearman correlation test or chi-square test. Also, chi-square test is used when we have categorical data. Now, the resource material was shared with you. Please open Jupyter or Spider so that we can move on to hands-on practice. I've opened Jupyter in front of me. All those who are not aware what to open, how to open, just type in Anaconda Navigator here and just dive in again and launch Jupyter. Or you can even open Spider from that. Just open both the files. Open the Jupyter file, and then you can just replace the data that we have as we had replaced yesterday. Just replace the path here, wherever you have saved. I had saved in desktop, so I have written the path from desktop. The file name is testing of hypodata. Just quickly open the Jupyter file or Spider application and then load the data. Just load the data here itself. That was shared as a resource material. Just quickly load the data. And as I mentioned yesterday, it's a very good practice that you write all the libraries before at the starting of the code itself. So in my present code, I have used NumPy, SciPy.stats, Pandas, and all these will cover all the tests that we need to use in our testing of hypothesis. All the uh, you can either say for Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, you can say for Shapiro-Wilk test. All these tests come in the library of SciPy.stats. Everything will be comprising inside SciPy.stats. It will be very easy for you to know these things and apply those things. Now, assuming that if we have loaded the data, we can see the head of the data by simply typing head.data.head. Also, one more thing I would like to mention, just because it's an Excel data, we write the command read_Excel. And also note, if you are opening a bracket, you should close it as well. If you don't close it, then Python will give you an error regarding this. And also, because Excel data, just writing sheet name. You can just write which sheet that we want to extract. It's simple as that. Read Excel command and the sheet name, which sheet that we want. So in the subsequent part of my code, I will be using different sheets where I have saved different kind of data for different analysis. And again, this R is written so that we don't have to write double quotes, double slash signs. It will automatically take it the path. You could just copy the path here. You don't have to write double slashes again. R will manage it accordingly. Just write in R here. So when we have loaded the data, we can see what are the columns in my data by list data.columns.values. Let's load this data. Load this. Let me run this. And you can also check what are the number of observations in my data by data.shape, and bracket is 0. You just see how many observations are there, number of observation and data.shape. So I have 6,400 observations. So obviously it is more than 15 observations. So as I mentioned, whenever we have more than 50 observations and we want to test for normality, we will go for Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. So how do we do that? I have mentioned my null hypothesis for Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. The sample data of the variable is a normal distribution, and the alternate hypothesis is the sample data of the variable is not from normal distribution. So our KS test or Kolmogorov-Smirnov test will test whether the null hypothesis is true or not. So for doing that, I have taken column 1. So column 1 is nothing but height. So we need to apply normality test on each of the columns that we have in the data. So here I have both height and weight are my continuous column. So I can simply take them. So I have taken first height in my data, in my normality test, and then I have taken weight in this. And please note, please pay attention here that KS test is the syntax where you define that I have to use Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. And here you specify the column, exact column that you want to take for your analysis. And you define by norm because we have to compare against normal distribution, because we are just trying to understand our null hypothesis is sample data is from normal distribution. When we specify norm, it will understand okay that KS test has to do the test against norm. Then if I mention again, case test will return me two values, the statistic and the p-value. As I mentioned earlier, p-value is used to reject or accept the null hypothesis. So if my alpha is 0.05 or my error percent is 5% or my level of significance is 5%, anything, any terminology that we can use, then we can say if p-value is more than alpha, then we will simply print that variable data is from normal distribution and we fail to reject H0 or we fail to reject null hypothesis. If my p-value is less than alpha, less than equal to alpha, then I would say my variable data is not from normal distribution and we reject the null hypothesis. That's what I had explained in the slides as well, that whenever my p-value is more than alpha, I will say variable data is from normal distribution or we accept the null hypothesis. Is if my p-value is less than equal to alpha, we reject the null hypothesis. Now I will just run this thing and you can see how does it answer. See, test mention my null hypothesis sample data of the variables from normal distribution. Alternate hypothesis sample data of is not from normal distribution. My height is my variable, so I've mentioned height case statistics as 1, weight case statistics as 1, and as p-value 0 is less than alpha, which is 0.05, we reject the null hypothesis. So our null hypothesis was sample data of the variables from normal distribution, but because our p-value is less than 0.05, that is why we reject it, and we have got the statement that height variable data is not for normal distribution, and we reject the null hypothesis. So this is how we perform KS test. We take individual variables, we perform the KS test by specifying the variable, by specifying that we are doing it against norm. Then we check the p-value is more than alpha or less than alpha, and if it's less than alpha, we reject the null hypothesis. If it's more than alpha, we accept the null hypothesis. Here, because our p-value 0 is less than 0.05, that is why I have rejected the null hypothesis. Now let's move to Spearman correlation. Because our data is not normal, that is why we move to Spearman correlation. So the null hypothesis for Spearman correlation is there is no correlation or association present between the two variables. Whereas the alternative hypothesis is there is correlation present between the two variables. So there, the null hypothesis, there is no correlation present. Alternative hypothesis is there is no correlation present between the two variables. Again, my syntax would be stats.spearman, and you have to specify the two variables in it. And again, it will return me the statistic or the correlation plus the p-value. And if, as I mentioned earlier, if my p-value is more than alpha, I will accept the null hypothesis. And if my p-value is less than alpha, I will reject the null hypothesis, which is variables are correlated. Whenever p-value is more than alpha, I will accept the null hypothesis. And if my p-value is less than alpha, less than equal to alpha, I reject the null hypothesis. So there is no correlation. So I have specified Spearman correlation. There is no correlation between the two variables. Or there is correlation present between the two variables. If I run it, and Spearman correlation is coming out to 0.4, and the p-value is 0, which is obviously less than 0.05. That is why I reject null hypothesis and conclude that variables are correlated. For all those who are facing error in Spider for KS test, it may be you must be typing some command incorrectly. So what you can do is, because it is working fine in Jupyter, so instead of facing that error, you can just open your Jupyter notebook and you can start working on that. There's no problem. First, try to understand. You can execute the commands later on as well. First, you need to understand when and where are these commands used and how to use them. Executing them is not a big task to do. First, you need to understand when do we have to use these commands and what is the syntax behind that. Please pay attention to that first. So because our number of observations were greater than 50, we went for Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. Then we went for Spearman correlation. Now we load the second data. You can just copy paste the same path here that we had in above. Just copy paste the same path. And then sheet name is data2. Again, we see data2 head. Just copy paste the path and just try this command head. So now you can assume I have two data columns, and now for Shapiro-Wilk test we have null hypothesis that the sample data of the variable is from normal distribution, and alternative hypothesis is sample data of the variable is not from normal distribution. The syntax for using Shapiro-Wilk test is Shapiro that I have defined here, and specify the column within that. Just specify the column within that. Again, as we had done in Kolmogorov-Smirnov test or KS test, we have to perform normality test on each of the columns that we have. So assume because the data is continuous here, so we perform Shapiro on each of the columns. Shapiro data to column 1. Shapiro data to column 2. I'll just print the SW statistic or Shapiro statistics, and again to interpret the results, P is greater than alpha, variable data is on normal distribution, fail to reject H0. And if my p-value is greater than alpha, less than equal to alpha, we said variable data is not from normal distribution. So whenever my alpha, if my p-value is more than alpha, I will say variable data is not from normal distribution. If my p-value is less than equal to alpha, I will say variable data is not from normal distribution. So again, I have null hypothesis, my alternative hypothesis. I have the SW statistics for height 1 and height 2, which are my two variables. These are my statistics and these are my p-values. Just because my p-value are more than 0.05, that is why we accept the null hypothesis and conclude that the height variable data is from normal distribution. Whereas height 2 variable data is also from normal distribution. Just because my p-value is more than 0.05 or my alpha, which is 0.05. So p-value is very much important to accept or reject a null hypothesis. And the syntax for Shapiro-Wilk test is Shapiro. Then going to Pearson correlation, because my variable is coming from a normal distribution, both the variables are from normal distribution. That is why I go for Pearson correlation test. So the Pearson correlation test has a null hypothesis as there is no correlation present between the two variables. Alternative hypothesis is this correlation present between the two variables. Again, the null hypothesis is no correlation between the two variables, and alternative hypothesis is this correlation present between the two variables. The syntax for Pearson correlation is stats.pearsonr, and we specify the two columns within that, and it will give me the correlation or Pearson correlation and the p-value. Pearson correlation coefficient is calculated, and according to the alpha, we reject or accept the null hypothesis. So if I just run it, I will just get a null hypothesis as there is no correlation between the two variables. Alternative hypothesis is this correlation present between the two variables. My Pearson correlation coefficient comes out to be minus 0.084, which is quite low, and p-value is 0. Because p-value is less than 0.05, that is why we reject the null hypothesis. We accept the null hypothesis, sorry, and conclude the variables are non-correlated. You can also pay attention to this. Just because correlation is minus 0.081, which is quite low, and my p-value is also suggesting that because the correlation coefficient is quite low, my p-value is also coming out to be such that my p-value is less than equal to alpha, and we reject it. Now moving on to one sample t-test. One sample t-test is used when we want to check if my sample data comes off a population with a specified mean. For example, I have a class with some ages, with ages of all the students in the class. So I can assume that the mean age is around 15 or mean is around 20, something like that. So I can just test one sample t-test for that. I can use one sample t-test where I can specify the specified mean. Here I have taken 34. You can take anything as such. There's no hard and fast rule. Depending the data, depending the mean value that you want to take, I will specify mean value as 34. So one sample t-test always assume or has the null hypothesis as sample data comes from a population with a specified mean. Alternative hypothesis is the sample data doesn't come from a population with a specified mean, and we specify the mean value here. I specify the mean value 34 just for the reference, but you can keep it accordingly. And the syntax is stats.t-test underscore one sam. So stats is my library that is used, and .t-test one sam is the syntax for one sample t-test. And data to I just want to test on one of the columns. You can use on both the columns as well. So I've used on height column, and I'm just testing against my mean value of 34. So my syntax stats.t-test one sam. I'm checking on the column data to column 1, and I've taken an arbitrary value of the mean as 34. You can change and see it, it will still run. And when I run it, according to the statistics and the p-value, I will either reject or accept the null hypothesis. So here, as I said, my null hypothesis is sample data comes over population with a specified mean. Alternative hypothesis says sample data doesn't come from a population with a specified mean. My sample p statistics is 2.558 and p value is 0.016, which is less than 0.05. Just because it's less than 0.05, we reject the null hypothesis and conclude that the height variable doesn't come from a population with mean is equal to 34. If I specified some other mean, you can specify it here. mean value 34. You can specify any arbitrary value that you wish to have for your data, and then test the one sample t-test on that as well. And accordingly, it will give you the results based on the p-value. So again, p-value is of prime importance and will accept or reject the null hypothesis based on that. So here I have got the variable doesn't come over operation with mean 34 because my p-value is less than 0.05. Now we are going to perform independent sample t-test. In one sample t-test, we have only one column. But in some independent sample t-test, we assume that there are two different groups that we want to compare, and usually we compare between their means. For example, I have the data. Let's see how the data looks like. Height 1 and height 2. So you can just assume that height 1 is one group of height and height 2 is another group of height. So there are two different groups of heights that we want to compare. So height 1 and height 2 are two different groups of heights that we want to compare for independent sample t-test for the means. We want to compare the mean of height 1 group, and we want to compare the mean of height 2 group and see according to the independent sample t-test. So the hypothesis for the independent sample t-test says there's no difference between the means of the two samples, or we can say they are from the same distribution. Alternative hypothesis says there is difference between the means of the two samples that we have, or the two columns that we are taking into consideration. Please note that independent sample t-test is always applied between two columns, not more than two columns. And only two columns when we need to use for independent sample t-test, and the syntax for that is stats.t-test underscore in. Again, this test returns me two values, the test statistics and the p-value. And the column that I used, I have kept height 1 and height 2, assuming that they are from two different groups. So the heights that I have taken are from group 1 and from group 2. And we are performing independent sample t-test on both the groups. Again, the condition remains the same. Whenever my p-value is less than or equal to alpha, I reject the null hypothesis. And whenever my p-value is greater than alpha, I accept the null hypothesis. So if my p-value, excuse me, if my p-value is less than or equal to alpha, I would say there is difference between the two means. If my p-value is more than alpha, which is 0.05, I will say there is no difference present between the means. So I've just run this command and I have seen that independent sample t-test, I have the null hypothesis as there is no difference between the means of our two sample data variables, and alternative hypothesis says there is difference between the means of the two sample data variables. And my statistics as minus 0.390 and the p-value is 0.69, which is more than 0.05. That is why I fail to reject the null hypothesis, because more than 0.05, and conclude that there is no difference present between the mean of both the groups, or I would say the mean of height 1 variable and mean of height 1 variable. There is no significant difference between them. It doesn't mean the means are equal. I would say there is no significant difference between the two means of them. This is what we mean by independent sample t-test, and thus we conclude. Now, if we have more than two samples where we want to check if the means differ for each of the columns among them, so we just load this data, just copy the same data itself, and we load data 3. Just copy paste the same path from above and we load data 3. And when we run data 3, we have 3 columns: height 1, height 2, and height 3. Now, we will assume that height 1 is for group 1, height 2 is height for group 2, height 3 are heights for group 3. So there are 3 different groups for the variable height, and we want to compare that there is no significant difference between the means of the groups, or there is a significant difference between any one of the groups. So assuming these are 3 different groups for which we want to compare the means, that is why we go for ANOVA. But in independent sample t-test, we only go for 2 variables. And ANOVA, we go for when we want to perform on more than 2 variables. That is why we go for one-way ANOVA test. Now I have specified the null hypothesis as, which is there is no significant difference in the means of the groups. Alternative hypothesis is there is significant difference between any one group in the means of the groups. So this is my null hypothesis and this is my alternative hypothesis. Now if I want to perform one-way ANOVA, I will just use stats.f1way and put all the 3 columns or all the 3 variables or 3 groups that we want to test for ANOVA. And if you have more than 3 variables in your data, you can simply add on into it. You can put as many variables as you want, depending on how many variables that you want to do for. So again, the stats.fa one-way ANOVA or one-way ANOVA will give you 2 values, the test statistics itself or the ANOVA, analysis of variance, and p-values. ANOVA is nothing but analysis of variance. And again, we'll accept or reject the null hypothesis given on the basis of alpha. So if my p-value is more than alpha, I will say there's no significant difference among the groups for the means. And if my p-value is less than or equal to alpha, I will say there's a significant when I run it, I will say null hypothesis is there's no significant difference in the means of the groups, and alternative hypothesis there's significant difference to any one group. It may not be necessary that it may be the case that mean of one group and mean of other group may not have any significant difference, but mean of height 1 and mean of height 3, they may have a significant difference. So ANOVA will tell me, yes, there is a group which has a significant difference between any one group. It will not tell me which of the groups it has, but it will just tell me, give me an indication that among the 3 values that you have, there is a significant difference between any one group, between pairwise any one group. Either it may be between height 1 and height 2, it can be between height 2 and height 3, or it can be between height 1 and height 1. Any one of the groups you can consider, depends on that. And accordingly, I will get the statistic and the p-value. Because my p-value is more than alpha, which is 0.05, that is why we fail to reject the null hypothesis and conclude there's no significant difference among the groups. If there was a significant difference among any one of the groups, for example, height 1 or height 2, or height 1 or height 3, or height 2 or height 3, then I would say, then we will go for Tukey's test. As I had mentioned in the slide, that whenever there is a significant difference among the groups, we go for Tukey's HSD test. But because in my data that I have taken, there was no significant difference among the groups, I'm not going to use Tukey's test. But I have specified the command for that. I have specified the syntax for that, which is pairwise Tukey HSD, and we'll just take the group and the value. The value is, for example, the value your height, the continuous variable that you have specified, and your groups are either group 1, group 2, or group 3. So it will perform pairwise Tukey HSD test, and it will tell me which of the pair have a significant difference among the means. But here, because there's no significant difference among the groups in my data, so I won't be performing Tukey HSD. But whichever data you take, if in that there's a significant difference among the means of the groups, then you need to apply Tukey HSD test to understand which of the variables or which of the groups have significant difference between their means. And then accordingly, you can just understand as well that height 1, height 2, if I can the height 1 and height 2, height 1 and height 3, height 2 and height 3, which of the variables, which of the groups will not have significant difference among the means of the groups. Now, moving to categorical data. If we have categorical data, it's obviously non-normal. But if we want to test the independence, or we want to test if they are related or not, if they have a correlation between them or not, we use for chi-square test. We go for chi-square test. Now you can quickly load the data that I have specified. The same data part I need to there, and we have the data 5 sheet. Just quickly paste there. It's the same path itself, but in data 5 sheet. And I hope I understand that you can easily see data 4 head by the mentioning data 4 dot head. And when you just load this again in front of you. So now we have 2 categories. Gender, either it's female or male, and marital status, married or unmarried. And I want to check if there's a correlation between them or not, between these 2 variables or not. Or in other sense, I want to understand, is marital status more in males or more in females, something like that. I just want to understand what is the correlation, or is there any correlation between these 2 categorical variables. If we had continuous variables and non-normal data, then we would have gone for PMN correlation. But here we have categorical data, both the columns are categorical. That is why we have taken chi-square test. We have gone for chi-square test. But as you can see, I have the 2 variable gender, marital status, with the categories are female and males, and marital status are married and unmarried. We first go for crosstab. So what does crosstab do? Crosstab is a function from Pandas library, and it will just give me the count of the variable or count of the data that lie in each category. For example, if I just run this and run the crosstab, it will give me among the married individuals, how many persons are female and how many persons are male. Then among the unmarried category, how many persons are female and how many persons are male. So it will just give me the count of that variable. And as per the chi-square statistic, we will apply the chi-square statistic on this data. We have the data like this. We can go for a crosstab, which will just aggregate the data according to the counts in the specific category. Here I have married. How many among married are female and how many are males among married, and how many females are there in unmarried, and how many males are there in unmarried. And then we perform a chi-square statistics on the chi-square test on that, and we'll say our null hypothesis is there's no correlation between the 2 variables, and the alternative hypothesis is there. This correlation present between the 2 variables, and we apply the function chi2 contingency. Chi2 contingency is the syntax. It will give me chi, p value, and degree of freedom. All these arguments will be returned from this table, from this command, or from this syntax, we've again taken alpha as 0.05, and accordingly we'll get the statistic and the p-value. The chi2 contingency gives me chi-square and p-value. If p-value is more than alpha, I will get variable. We will accept the null hypothesis and say variables are non-correlated. If my p-value is less than equal to alpha, I will say variables are correlated, or we reject the null hypothesis. If I run this command, I will get there is no correlation present between the two variables, and if my alternate hypothesis is there, there is correlation present between the two variables. Now, as you can see, my p-value is less than 0.05 and my chi-square statistic comes out to be 90. That is why I conclude that variables are correlated, or I will say I reject the null hypothesis that variables are non-correlated. So we have covered all the parametric and two parametric tests, which comprise of chi-square and Spearman, but I won't be discussing in detail the other non-parametric tests given the time constraints. But I hope you have understood whenever that we have a normal distribution, if we have a normal data, we go for Kolmogorov test. If my sample is more than 50, we go for Shapiro-Wilk test. If it's less than 50, if it is normal, we go for Pearson correlation test. If it's not normal, we go Spearman's correlation test for continuous data, and we go for chi-square test for categorical data. If it is normal, we go for one sample t-test. We go for independent sample t-test when we have two groups and we want to compare the means of the two groups. We can even go for paired sample t-test when we have we want to compare for each person that we have, for each category that we have, or not exactly category, but for each person we want to compare. And then if we want to compare more than two columns or more than two variables for mean, for significant difference between the mean, we go analysis of variables, analysis of variance, or ANOVA test. Then we go for post-hoc test, or Tukey's HSD test, to understand which of the pairs are having significant difference among their means. And accordingly, we can use the commands. We can use for KS test, we can go for Shapiro, all these commands from stats.scipy.stats library.